Today's Advent reading is a story that we all know. It's the story of Gabriel visiting Mary and what happened next. But today, rather than just listening to what happened next with our ears, I'm going to ask you to use your imagination and to try and see what might have happened, what it might have been like. Now, when we use our imagination in the Bible, we'll get a few things wrong, some of the sights, some of the smells, the sounds, but God can use our minds in a way that he can't when we're just listening. And they are our God-given imaginations, so let's try that now. Close your eyes if you will, and come with me. Imagine, if you will, a small, single-storey, whitewashed backyard in Nazareth. It's late afternoon, it's warm. The noises from the street drift in on the heavy air. Perhaps some local children are singing a repetitive song somewhere in the distance. Probably a song that Mary herself sang when she was little. Maybe there's a flock of goats setting up a chorus of bleating as it's herded up the street. The sound of people at work, the conversations, mingle reassuringly into a familiar yet ever-changing pattern of background noise. The sound of people living and working around their houses. The sounds of the way things are, and for Mary, the way things have always been. As we watch this little yard, Mary herself enters. She's just returned from the baker's where she's taken dough to be baked. She loves the way as she enters her yard that the scent of the jasmine greets her as she leaves the smells of the street behind her. Under a dark fig tree in a corner of the yard is a small bench offering rest and shade in the hot afternoons. This is her father's favourite spot after work in the last hour, just as the daylight fades. In a corner, under a simple lean-to, is a kitchen area with its open fire, water jar and collection of cooking pots, oil, a few onions and some other vegetables. This place is the centre of Mary's life. It's always been the centre of her life, the centre of her home where she's grown up. And it's the place from where she is to marry the man to whom she's betrothed, a carpenter called Joseph. In a dangerous, risky world, this place is as safe as it gets. But then out of nowhere, God's cosmic plan comes crashing into her life, like this great juggernaut roaring up the street and shuddering to a halt outside the little yard. God's messenger Gabriel comes striding into the yard, uninvited, unannounced, and everything that was safe and familiar for Mary is changed forever. Amazingly, God puts himself into Mary's hands. What will she say? Will she say yes? Will she agree? Well, let's leave our imaginations there for a moment. There's a foretaste here of Jesus' call to discipleship. In fact, I would say that the way Luke presents Mary, it's as if she is the first disciple, the first one who is called to leave everything that she knows to enter a strange and risky world that she doesn't know. The Bible tells us that Mary was much perplexed, and yet here, which we'll read today, is her response. She's only a teenage girl, but she gathers her things. She goes to see her cousin Elizabeth. Elizabeth greets her, and then Mary says these words. These words are often used in the Eastern Church and the Catholic Church and some High Anglican churches. They sing them, and it's called the Magnificat. From the first line, my soul magnifies the Lord. And it's from Luke chapter 1, from verse 46, Mary's song of praise. And then Mary said, my soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Saviour, for he has looked with favour on the lowliness of his servant. From now on, all generations will call me blessed. For the Mighty One has done great things for me, and holy is his name. His mercy is on those who fear him from generation to generation. He has shown strength with his arm. He has scattered the proud in the thoughts of their hearts. He has brought down the powerful from their thrones and lifted up the lowly. He has filled the hungry with good things, and the rich he has sent away empty. He has helped his servant Israel in remembrance of his mercy, according to the promise he made to our ancestors, to Abraham and to his descendants forever. And then the last verse, verse 56. And Mary remained with her cousin Elizabeth about 3 months, and then returned to her home. How would you respond to the sudden, uninvited intrusion of God into your life?